Hi friends and not yet friends. Light and tender, soft and fluffy, delectable vegan donuts are surprisingly easy to make. While I will always have a soft spot for cake donuts, I have an even bigger spot for puffy yeast donuts. That spot, of course, is in my belly. These are dipped in simple sugar glaze and, because I was feeling fancy, scented with real strawberries. As always, you can access the full recipe, ingredients, and instructions in the description box below. We start as if we're making bread, the most delicious bread, so that's half a cup of warm water and a teaspoon of yeast. Leave that alone to get foamy. That's the test to know that your yeast is active and will help your dough rise. Meanwhile, get your other ingredients together. Take care when measuring the all-purpose unbleached flour. Fluff it up first before scooping and leveling off. If the flour is compacted and you measure from that, you will have too much and your dough won't be as soft as we'd like. Or weigh the dough to be more exact. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Vital Wheat gluten, also known as pure gluten flour. This will help our donuts become really puffy and light. Don't worry if you don't have this though. Your donuts will still be nice without it, but it's just nicer with. Now get a large mixing bowl and add everything except the flour mixture. Flaxseed meal adds a nice bite to the donuts. I prefer golden flax because it kind of disappears into the dough, but if you only have brown flax, that'll do. Add your nice foamy yeast mixture. If it's not foamy, do not pass go, do not collect $200. I mean, your yeast is probably dead and you'll need new yeast to proceed, but ours is alive, so we're good. Now add coconut oil. I'm using refined coconut oil as it doesn't have any coconutty flavor, but feel free to use unrefined coconut oil if you do want that flavor. Also, this would be easier if the oil was melted to liquid form. Just don't add hot oil. Whisk that all together really well. And it's time to incorporate the flour, just a little at a time, mixing until all the dry stuff is completely in there before adding more. In fact, you may not use all the flour that we measured out. We want a soft dough that is still tacky. I ended up having about a 1/4 cup left over, but that's perfect because we're going to use that to roll the dough later. Knead it in the bowl or on your counter just so the dry bitsies disappear and the dough is fairly smooth, kind of. It doesn't have to be super silky smooth or anything. Cover the bowl up and place it in a warm, draft-free location to rise for 1 hour or until it's doubled in size. Go for a walk, read a book, catch up on The Walking Dead. This is your hour and there are no rules. Now our dough is risen and springy. Scoop around the sides of the dough and lift it out onto your clean, lightly floured surface. Pat it down gently and roll it out to about 1 centimeter thick. That's just over 3/8 of an inch. You don't have to be exact about it though. Now if you weren't able to get your dough out in a nice ball, just gently knead the sides into the middle and pinch on the bottom to create a nice smooth dough ball on top, and then roll it out. Just don't knead it too vigorously or else the rising time for the next step will be longer, which means a delay in donuts to your face time, which would be, of course, less than ideal. Time to cut the donuts out. I'm using the lid ring from a large mason jar for the outside and a shot glass to cut out the middle. If you have actual donut or cookie cutters, that would work even better. Press firmly to cut the donuts out cleanly and lay them on a lightly floured piece of parchment. Don't toss the inside parts because those will become donut holes, or as we like to call them in Canada, timbits, even if they're not from Tim's, so technically these are not timbits, but I'm going to call them timbits anyway, so sue me. Except please don't sue me, Tim Hortons. When you've cut as many donuts as you can, you should have 5 donuts and 5 donut holes. With the remainder, you can knead it into a ball and roll it out again for 1 more donut. Remember, this one will not rise as quickly as the others. With the leftover bits, I like to roll it thin and twist it together to make a fun twisted donut. Then cover and leave this to rise. I'm using a piece of plastic wrap that has been floured thoroughly on one side. I've used the same piece of wrap several times and you can do the same as long as you don't get the piece wet at all and save it somewhere clean and dry. While those are rising, get your glaze together. I'm mixing just a 1/4 cup of water with a cup and a bit of icing sugar. And feel free to add vanilla extract or a flavor of your choice. I also have some strawberry dust here made from dried strawberries that have been blasted in a bullet blender. If you don't have a dehydrator, I have a video for how to mix strawberry chips in your oven, so check that out if you like. About 45 minutes to an hour later, depending on your room temperature, your donuts should be at least doubled in size. This is where an automatic deep fryer would be super rad, but I don't have one, so I'm going to heat a couple cups of canola oil in this saucepan. You want at least 2 inches of oil heated up to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius. You really want a thermometer for this part. Too cold and your donuts will be really oily and get soggy. Too hot and you'll burn them. Arrange your workstation so you can cook, drain, and glaze your donuts efficiently, but above all, safety first. Carefully lower one donut into the oil. Notice that the oil bubbles up, so keep that in mind when you're choosing which saucepan to use. Make sure it's deep enough. After 30 to 45 seconds, carefully flip the donut over and cook for another 30 seconds or until that side is nice and golden brown as well. Let that drain on a wire rack and continue with the next. When you've got the hang of things, you may glaze the cooked donuts while you have one cooking. Simply dip into the glaze one or both sides and sprinkle on some strawberry dust if you like. For the timbits, as soon as you drop them in oil, you can attempt to turn them over. Be safe, and if some won't turn, just leave them. Remove them from the oil when they get just as brown as the other donuts. And that's it. You'll need to wait at least 15 to 20 minutes for the donuts to cool until you can eat them safely. But you're probably all safetied out by now, and I won't blame you if you put a slightly too hot donut in your mouth. It'll probably happen. Be warned. And there you have them. Delicious, light and fluffy vegan yeast donuts. Try them out and let me know how it goes. Tell me what kind of toppings or glazes you might use in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm so excited to be back and making easy vegan recipes, what I eat videos, and cookbook and recipe reviews for you after 4 long months of being away. Thank you to everyone who has stuck around and been so kind over the last while. I appreciate you. Bye for now.